Shabbat Shalom. There, we're going to begin now the portion where we discuss what we heard. Miriam, I see you're on mute, but because Mauricio is not here, usually he adds to. I'm sorry that he's not because he gave us a wonderful message, and he always adds to the things that he said. So, um, did you make any notes, Miriam? Do you have anything you'd like to add to what?
Yeah, the reason I was on mute is because I don't need to be, I unmute
That's
myself when you
okay.
talk. Okay.
That's okay.
Yeah. Well, I did make some, I mean, first, it's a very beautiful message and a
Yes.
very beautiful portion, that's for sure.
Yes.
I loved one thing we said, um, God brings brings the infinite into the finite.
I love that.
But that's the whole story of what our relationship with God is.
Yeah. Yeah.
And when he says emulate God, it's not the self-righteousness that you sometimes see in all religions, including Judaism, because how can we're not God, but we are to emulate God, that to be just, to be in all our interactions. So that was, I really, really like that.
Exactly. It reminds me of something that someone told me when I came to God and to the Torah. He says, "You've now stepped into eternity."
Yes. But
Isn't that
that's
marvelous?
or even the thing I always tell you that I love in the very poetic the King James version, and I think it's in the book of Yochanan, where it says, "You have been translated from the kingdom of darkness into the kingdom of light."
Amazing.
Like that just sends shivers through me
Yeah.
because it's really true. It's so this poetic description of the truth.
Yeah, but I wonder now. I mean, we were certainly the things we were doing, we were following darkness more than light. We thought we were light in the thing. I don't know how you felt.
No, the way I see it, don't look at it so literal. Well, it is literal, but in a spiritual sense. To me, it's like the way I see it. Imagine yourself just standing in your house or whatever, and God doesn't make you into a self-righteous, light, perfect person,
Right.
but he takes you out. Let's say your kitchen is just a kitchen, regular kitchen, but he takes your whole being with all of you. You still do bad things, you still struggle with all sorts of things. He puts you into a beautiful light. It's just a translating it's a whole paradigm shift. It's
Yeah.
not that suddenly not it's not everyone is in an obviously evil place. Our kids, our friends, our family, they're not in a totally, but we are put into a new paradigm, which is
Right.
a paradigm of light.
Right.
That's the way I see it. It's one of my favorite verses. It's just so beautiful.
Yeah. And I loved what I read in that book, in the book of John, because in the New Age, we had an arrogance about us where we felt we were channeling light. I would walk down the street and look at people and feel that my light was being channeled into them and
Right.
just
That's not what
walking.
John meant. Right.
No, and when he said, I am not that light, he is the light.
Right.
It was like, woof, this pressure was lifted off of me that every once in a while I still tend to feel like, because sometimes we take too much on ourselves. It's like
Yeah.
one of the things that he said, let me see if I can find it, was we think, Mauricio just went through a very difficult time where his son Santi, he was afraid he was going to die. He got the dengue virus, the dengue, the mosquito bit him, and he was so sick. And he went through and he said, I am the first one to forget God's goodness.
Wow.
Worry too much when I forget that God has brought me through far worse situations than the one I'm in. I often think that what's getting me through is my money or my knowledge or my strength, my power, when the true source is God. That's the answer to everything. When I get sick, I go through everything. I spend millions on, and not literally, on all kinds of healing things and nothing works. And then when I finally give up, and I ask God, please help me. Somehow someone says, "Oh, do this," and then I'm better.
But even in the worst scenario, just let's say, heaven forbid, Santi did die. We have to remember that there is, I mean, not to,
Yes, you're
know
right.
what I'm saying,
Yeah,
that we have that even in that situation,
right.
God is always with us, but it's
Exactly.
not always easy to
No,
navigate that.
no, it is not. Yeah. And what else did you see?
Let me see.
Well, that question, what does God want from me?
Yeah, I
I
marked
think
it.
I ask that question every day.
Yeah, me too. I get that.
And I love that verse where it says, God gives us the desires of our hearts. It's not that he's a sugar daddy that gives us anything we ask for.
No,
He puts his desire into our hearts so that we could fulfill them.
right.
And that's a very different way of looking at things. It's a different paradigm. But
Well, it's a difference between joy and what we call happiness sometimes. I mean, it's good to have, be healthy and have enough money to live healthily and all these things. But the difference in what you're just saying is between, to me, joy, that God's being with us is joy, and happiness is transitory.
exactly. I mean, we all say, all I want from my kids is that they should be happy. I just want them to be happy. When the truth is, I really would love them to serve the God of Israel,
Right,
to know God and to want to follow his ways.
right,
Because we could be happy going to a nightclub and getting on drugs. So
right.
happiness is not really what we want for them.
No, no,
We want them to choose the right path in this world.
right. Also, okay, what did he said about the number 13 in Gematria?
Yeah.
Remember, like how we consider, the world 13 is an unlucky number, and it's not at all in Gematria, in the Hebrew understanding. Um, so
It's
God,
echad, echad,
Echad, one,
yeah,
and uh, what love, to love God, and oh, I can't.
ahava, ahava.
Ahavad, love, and one. In other words, being one with God, and then love is also action.
Right.
That's number 13 in Gematria.
I know. And
Yeah,
that whole idea of love in Hebrew is very different from the world way of viewing Hollywood love. Like you're waiting to meet the love of your life, you're going to fall madly in love. This is not what God is asking from us.
no,
No, love means that the person that you're choosing to spend your life with, you're going to uh, be loyal to them. You're going to honor them and take care of them. And it needs to be a two-way street. There's a lot of questions that young people need to ask each other before they sit down and make that vow. Don't take their vows to spend a lifetime together. It's loyalty. God's love is very different, and love doesn't come from the heart. Love comes from the mind. It's what we think. In it For us, the feelings come from the gut. We get a gut feeling. It hits us in the belly, in the gut, in the stomach.
yeah.
Angry. You have an angry bowel. Angry colon. This is a very different way of looking at things. The Torah is, and he.
Although for people to, I believe, to me, it's a whole thing. You
Yes, I'm
can't
not
just,
leaving that out, but you're
yeah,
right.
that's all I'm saying. You
Um,
can't, it's like
But
a
that
flower.
grows.
Huh?
That's a process, that feeling you're talking about. I'm going to let you continue because I want to hear what you have to say. But it,
No.
it grows over
Well,
time.
but it grows on a base, obviously.
Yeah.
It's because that's where I'm against. Um, it doesn't just grow when let's say you're in arranged marriages. Maybe in the olden times, as I said, in the biblical times, I think God knew, and it was a different scenario. But there are a lot of scenarios now in certain religions where It's awful. And it doesn't grow from nothing. There's got to be something. You have to be, I believe, have the same values, the same, basically certain things in common. So I think from that base, it's going to be a much fuller, true love and loyalty, all those things. All
Exactly.
I'm saying is the Hollywood thing. First of all, the Hollywood thing, 99% of the time, these are people, you see men and women in the pinnacle of their hormonal turmoil. So it's often more lust than love. But
Right.
all I'm saying, but even in whatever, it's a holistic thing. It's tout la kit, as they say in French.
Yeah, but I wish I could tell younger people not to follow their hormones, but to follow their
But
mind.
that's the thing,
Yeah.
to just be more total in their thinking. I
Yes.
mean, look at how many couples have the old thing, which I don't believe is true at all, that says opposites attract. I
No.
don't believe that. I think you have to be complementary. It's not the same as opposite. An opposite, you'll see extreme, just types that are like really opposite, extreme extroverts with extreme introverts. They say, oh, opposites attract. There's got to be some middle ground. We
Well,
have,
I think opposites do attract when we are not,
they may attract, but it may not be the best.
no, because we're attracted to something that we feel we're lacking, that we feel we're not. But it's hard to live with an opposite, you know?
But I don't, yeah, but I don't know if that's, I don't know. I'm just trying to think. Yeah, there might, I'm not, but that's more complimentary. It's not the same. It's not the same as a total, like, anyway, maybe I'm not being
No,
clear.
but no, you're not. But when you say opposites attract, yes, they do attract, but in a healthy person, a person would be more attracted to someone where they have a lot of the similar values, a lot of the similar,
Yeah, but yeah,
yeah, things in common are much better than living with someone who's opposite you, because you could drive each other crazy. It doesn't make for a
but
good
that's what I'm saying.
relationship. Exactly. But I
It's
was
more
just
like a
clarifying.
puzzle where but that's not the same as opposite. Like a puzzle, when the pieces fit together,
Yeah.
uh, you know,
Like if
even,
one's a total introvert and one's a total extrovert, and they go to a party, the one who's the extrovert wants to stay. The one who's the introvert wants to go home. So, or they don't even want to go in the first place. So it's going to be a uh,
yeah.
constant battle.
But to me, it's more complimentary. I could see a total introvert with maybe somebody who's more a total extrovert, let's say, with somebody who has more introversion than them. But I wouldn't say like a total introvert with a total extrovert. They would be clashing.
That's exactly what opposites attract, but they don't meld
Well,
well
that's what
in
I'm saying.
marriage.
Well, that's what I mean to say. It's
Exactly.
more that you have to complement each other, even in friendships. You,
Yes.
I mean, sometimes anyway, whatever, you get the point.
I know exactly. So let's see, what else did he say? Um, I like what he said. Serving God isn't filling my time with liturgical activities or having a series of actions that I must perform each day. It's it's living the commandments. It's like
Yeah.
some people feel that the first thing they do when they have to get up is they have to read from the Siddur. Okay. And it's almost like just mouthing the prayers going through them. I'll never forget when I met a girl sitting against a tree, and she was reading the book of Psalms in Hebrew. And I was excited because I had just come to know God and I loved the Bible. I loved the Psalms were wonderful. And I went up and I said, "What are you reading?" I could see she was holding a Bible. And she says, "I'm reading this Tehillim." I said, "Oh, which one are you on? What does it say?" She said, "I don't know. It's in Hebrew and I don't understand Hebrew."
Wow.
She was just
Right.
mouthing the words as if that's going to help. It's like putting a
That's like a
Bible,
talisman.
it's a talisman, like putting the Bible under your pillow. You know,
Oh, the people do that.
yeah, There are people who just do that.
Okay,
It becomes an object, an idol, an icon. And that's not,
right.
this is, the Torah gives us common sense approach to living, moral values to live by, helping us to make choices. You know, he started off with instructions. I know you and I, Miriam, we talk about how we were raised in a Jewish jungle. And well, you know, some say a barn, or but I never had clear instruction on what to do in different circumstances. So I never knew what to do. And it makes it very difficult for us as children as we're growing up. And he talked about, you know, the CDC said that children grow healthily when they're given clear reasons. Like if you punish a child, but you don't tell them why, children don't know anything. We have to instruct them. We have to help them in the way they're going. And in many cases, we don't do that. And that's really an important thing. I loved what he had to say.
Yeah,
Reinforces their independence by teaching them limits and boundaries in their daily activities, and this will help themselves and society. What else did you see? Was noch? Was there anything else, Mims, you saw?
I'm looking.
Okay.
I'd mark that down too.
Yeah.
That's only one. What does that?
He talked about, again, what is God asking of me? And we sometimes forget, we have a short memory. I could be so joyful about something that I see God has done, simple things, because He's always taking care of us. He provides for us in ways that we can't even begin to understand sometimes. How does that happen? We feel like we're under an umbrella of protection and provision. And then the next day, something terrible happens and we completely forget.
Yeah,
We have a very short memory. And we could be very proud also. Our way is better than anybody's way.
right.
And he closed with, you know, when the earth swallowed up the Tan and Abiram, and they, with their households, their tents, and all their money that had sustained them, because they, you know, having a lot of money can be a source of pride. I'm better than you because I have more money than you.
Right.
And that is something that people struggle with. And money doesn't make anybody better than anyone else.
Was that the Korach? I'm getting mixed up now.
That was Korach.
That
Yeah.
was the Korach, yeah.
Yeah. The other two, Datana, Abiram, sons of Eliab, who were Reuben. He was the firstborn. So he also thought, just like Korach,
Right.
why shouldn't we have that position? We have money. We have power.
Yeah.
So he ends with, what does God require of me? That we act with reverence, that we live our lives with a desire to emulate his characteristics. And we have to look, what are his characteristics? Can you name some? What are the characteristics we learn from God?
Justice,
Justice,
kindness,
compassion, mercy.
loving kindness, compassion.
Yeah.
Uh,
Justice is, seek justice is the biggest one that he speaks about. Tzedek, tzedek tirdof. To love him, to serve him, to always choose. It's very easy for us to get upset with things, especially today. We become angry at what's happening in the world, and we want revenge and justice. But the justice starts with God at the root, with God at the heart of every issue. There's no other way.
I could see why, God says, vengeance is mine, because our vengeance, desire for vengeance could sometimes be so overpowering, it becomes an idol, and pride, and involves anger, and yeah.
Exactly. It's not easy. Moshe, do you have anything else that you want to add for what you heard today? You know, if you turn off, it's hard to hear you, but if you turn off your camera, you'll have more Wi-Fi power. Then I'll be able to hear your voice.
All right, thank you. I was waiting for the microphone. So
Do
can
you
you
have-
hear me?
Yes, but it's not clear. Excuse me.
If I just turn the phone around. Can you hear me now?
Yes, that's better.
All right.
Much better.
So thank you very much for the message. And I want to comment about a few things. You know, I'm basing on the question, what does God want us to do? What does God want us for? From Devarim 10:12 to 13, I quoted four major things. The first
Yeah.
one was fear God.
Yes.
And, you know, fearing God is like giving respect to Him,
Yes.
doing what is needed, exactly what is needed. When you when you respect someone, you will show that kind of fear. Not maybe not totally that maybe you fear someone, you can't even extend near that person, but it is under the umbrella of respect
And reverence, yes.
Then the other thing is about to follow his ways. That's another thing I quoted. Follow his ways.
Yes.
Like when you follow the right thing, it is like avoiding other interactions or obstructions, and then you decide to follow exactly what is needed. And
Right.
that is what God wants us to do.
Yes.
Then the third thing was about love. There's a word which I enjoy saying, and that is agape love. You know, it shows exactly that love of God, you know. So it is really very important to make God your closest friend, and then everything moves on well for you. Then the last thing was serve Him with all your heart and all your being.
Yes.
You know, these are key features as far as the question is concerned. And it is what I quoted from Devarim,
Yes,
the scripture that
that's what he quoted as well. Exactly.
exactly. Then down on verse, was it 14? He said that that is the command or a regulation that he gives us. It is like a regulation. We need to do it. Why? He is our creator. He is Elohim, you know. So that's exactly what we need. Then away from that, I want also to talk about what can we leave, or what can we maybe ignore in order to put what I quoted above in action, or in order to fulfill exactly what is in Devarim 10:12 to 13. Number one, I quoted about pride. I was enjoying when you mentioned about it. We do not need to be proud of ourselves, especially when it comes to acquisition of property, maybe when it comes to wealth, or when it comes to, you mentioned something, was it money? Yes. You mentioned money. It is not always good to make yourself so proud, and then you undermine, but it leads to undermine others. you hold yourself above others, and then you may even end up using that opportunity that you are above them to mistreat them, just
Right.
like we have seen this happening to some governments. I'm sorry to mention that some government leaders have used that opportunity that they have everything to undermine, to intimidate the other people, or to even provoke them, or do something which is bad to them. Then the other thing is the stubbornness, or being stubborn. You know, with the biblical doctrine, I see no reason of being stubborn. You know, we have like people who follow religion. Like for me, I am a Christian. I don't want to know others. What? For me, I'm this. I don't want to know. What we need to know here is God, Elohim. You know, so we don't need to be so stubborn biblically. Then the other thing is about conservativeness. And I want to categorize conservativeness in 2 points. That is resistance and rejection. You know, in the world, we have some people who don't need to change, like they don't want to change. Even if you mention exactly what is needed at a particular time, in a particular place, that person will reject totally. That person will do what is contrary. Okay, so that's what I wanted to put clear. That's what we need to avoid or to ignore in order to follow what is written, what is put in the Devarim 10. Then as I wind up, I want to talk about the point uh, that you talked about, also about the introverts and the extroverts. At college, when I was at college, that was in 2000. You know, I joined the college in 2019. Then when Corona came, I was supposed to take 2 years, but I ended up taking 3 years at college, studying for grade 3. Sorry. So at college we had that one as a great topic. And I remember arguing with some friends about introverts and extroverts. We were like, if they put 2 wives or 2 ladies, one is an introvert, another one is an extrovert, whom will you go with? So some people gave different reasons, and you know, we had different choices. But my choice was about the extroverts. Why? Like when you do something wrong, you know, we are humans, we sin, we like, though it may not be intentionally, but humans sin. So the reason I gave was, when I do something wrong, an extrovert lady will openly tell me that, Moshe, you have done this out of your minds. But with the introverts, they keep quiet. Introverts keep quiet, and then that thing will remain on her heart. So for me, for that case, I decided I want extroverts, because they are open. Once you do something wrong, they are open. They tell you now and then, so that you sort out yourself. So please, Mommy, thank you very much for the message. That's what I wanted to share with you.
Thank you, Moshe. We thank Mauricio for the message. I just read it. It's actually his message, and it was really a wonderful one. Um, I had something in my mind that I wanted to close with. Um, I think when you were speaking, it had to do with pride. there's a difference between being proud and using it in a negative way, and um, telling yourself, not being afraid to tell yourself, good job, well done.
That's not pride.
That's not pride. That's
But I
built,
understand, yeah.
yeah, that's building a sense of self. You can't love others unless you love yourself. You will never be able to advise others in a healthy way until you can take advice. You can't teach unless you're willing to learn. All these things, we may get upset with other people for things that they may seemingly do to us, but it's something inside that we have to look at. Why is that upsetting me? What can I do? How can I love myself more so that I don't put myself in those situations? But this is a lifetime process. It's not an easy thing to do. So there really is that difference with pride. When pride and stubbornness go together and you're unwilling to learn, unwilling to grow, that's a big problem. When you hold unforgiveness in your heart, that's a problem. So, and all these things are, the Torah teaches us what to do. And that's why also God puts us in community. Sometimes I'll say something and Miriam will give me her opinion about it. I may get upset in the moment, which I have. And then later on, I see, you know what? She was right. So we must always be open to criticism, but constructive criticism. Criticism that is not putting us down, but wanting to build us up. We mustn't be afraid to tell each other these things, whether we're an extrovert or an introvert. We give people permission, to those who care about us, to tell us the truth about ourselves. That's really important. And it's not an easy thing to do, because when you tell somebody about how they're behaving or what they're doing, they reject us, and we hate rejection. But we have to go beyond that feeling of rejection and be willing to take a chance to tell a person something. This is a lifetime process. It's not easy. And like you said, when we want to serve God, we need to be willing to listen, to hear from Him first, and not to feel better than others. These portions are very powerful. They really help us. And we have to remember the final point: man has free will to serve God or not. You can take two people with the same backgrounds, with the same knowledge, with the same understanding, but they may not want to use their free will to serve God. They prefer to serve themselves. So we have to constantly check ourselves. Like Rabbi always used to say, Psalm 139, allow God to search me. Search me, O God, know my heart. Try me and know my thoughts, and see if there's any wicked way within me, and lead me into your way everlasting. We're coming up in 1 month, believe it or not. I think it's just 1 month, a little more, for the high holidays. So I think we need to brace ourselves in these days ahead for some trials, because that's what happens always before the high holidays, the Moedim that God gave us, coming up with Yom Teruah, Yom Kippur, and Sukkot, and ending with Shemini Atzeret. I went, by the way, for all those who I always get calendars for every year, I went looking for calendars. The store that I bought it on Victoria has closed. The store that I bought it at the Cavendish Mall has closed. Our Jewish community is, on one hand, in the ultra Orthodox are growing, but the regular community is dying out. People are leaving. People are not willing to serve God because of all the anti-Semitism that is in the world. So I may not be able to get us calendars this year. I'm going to continue to look. I called one gentleman, we used to buy them from years ago, an Orthodox Jew. He's in New York. He's going to see if he can get them, but we may have to just go either to a funeral home or somewhere to pick one up. But I will let you know. So let's prepare our hearts during this time of what's called Nachamu, the time of compassion, the time of mercy, begging God to have mercy on us before we come before him on the high holidays. So I want to thank Mauricio again. Thank you, Moshe. Thank you, Miriam, for your feedback. Let's continue to pray for each other, to pray for our health, to pray for God to show us how to live his Torah. And I wish you all Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat shalom. Shabbat shalom.